79T 2458 Learning Corp. Little Red Riding Hood. Take one.
40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone. Does that make sense?
Where they say there are Indian people pooping on our beach.
It's a spool of wire. 40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone.
Morning, fellas. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How's things? Beautiful red morning today. Hope you got your coffee. Red morning branded mug stored at ryanstone.com, you know. Look at that. I see everybody in chat right now. Right. Feeling a little under the weather, but show must go on. There you are. Let me just pull up my notes here. I don't know how. I guess Rogan pays Jamie. How much does Jamie make, you think, on his? Anyways, this one's gonna be a shorter episode. We're doing a two-parter. We're gonna do the red morning here, and you can kind of tell the theme if you've seen the thumbnail already. It's like it shouldn't have to be this hard, and it kind of isn't. It's annoying seeing how men have regressed to the point where they're neurotic consumers. Women in the 1960s, buy the face cream and you'll live forever and he'll never leave you. Don Draper is rolling in his fictional grave right now. And so after we get through that, over to the other channel, we're going to do another Orion one. I don't do these all the time, but when I do them, I kind of enjoy them. I realized with the new video going on there, it's going to be Ghost in the Shell. Wow, you're picking really obscure stuff. It kind of is. But I realize a lot of guys are in there and they're like, I don't really watch anime ever. This one looks kind of cool. And I realize as much as the online people constantly talk about anime, nobody really watches it. Not really. At least not in this audience. But I don't either. Like I used to, but I don't anymore. So I figured it'll be a nice, like a primer for people who don't watch it. The things, the classics, the reason to show up. Gen Z boys are obsessed with cologne. My car smells like Sephora. They sell men's cologne at Sephora? Jesus. Last I heard about Sephora was, other than the fact that my concierge every day, they're like, here's another Sephora box for your wife. I'm like, thanks, man. But there was the Gen Zers. There's like 8-year-old girls go in there and they start bullying middle-aged millennial women. And the millennial women are on TikTok just crying about it. This 8-year-old bullied me and took the makeup, and oh my god. I was just laughing. Trump did this. Yeah, so it's going to be a good show. It's going to be a good show. It's going to be a fun-loving show. I think we'll enjoy it. Obviously, it's going to be snappier, so we're not going to be able to make fun of too many people. On the other hand, do I still have Sad Clary on here? I hope so. I want to put the second Sad Clary. If I can't find it, I can't find it. So, brief overview, how we're going about it. What I did versus what others are doing. This one is different. The rapid cultural shift isn't nearly as rapid. And unless you're at the cusp, you're not having to worry about it. And then don't bother competing with Bugattis. Oh yeah, that's pretty simple. Straightforward. But, I mean, to be fair, Daniel Bell in the chat is sitting here talking about the Gen Z boys obsessed with cologne. And, like, it could be worse. If I remember correctly, and I do, my young adult years and my child years, Axe body spray was the greatest thing ever. And just imagine smelling like Axe in your car. Just be glad they're at Sephora buying lavender scented cookie, whatever. I don't even know what the scents are now. I've still, like, I'm not going to lie. I'm one of those guys. I don't know if you guys are like this either. Let me know. Chat or in the comments. But, like, I'm perfectly happy to experiment and try all kinds of new things. But then once I find something I like, that's it. It's locked in. Like Old Spice deodorant has been my deodorant since I was a teenager. It's just not going to change. My cologne has always been Prada. Prada for men. The Amber. Had that since 2008 and it's not going anywhere. I have 5 restaurants that I go to, and that's it, just on a rotation. I never change. Always throws people off too. You try new experiences, but then you just stop. I'm like, yeah, once I find, I'm trying new experiences to find what I like, and once I get it, I'm done. I'm done. All right, moving on. What I did versus what others are doing. I actually, like, I saw it in the red pill space, this one here. Audio loves are good on this, right? By the way, I found out why I keep getting comments. You guys keep saying it's like super quiet in here, and I realized it's because of fucking StreamYard. They keep dropping my mic levels in like the Windows settings to 30% every time I go onto there. So every time I come back here, it's like a third of the volume, and it looks like I'm clipping on my end. Very rude of it. It's not working. Yeah, this cocksucker right there. All right, so what I did versus what others are doing. I first kind of saw it when I was doing the red pill thing, where like when it was first there, I was in the early adopters, the early 2010s, and a lot of guys were basically describing what they were doing. Even Royce, if you read the old Royces in DC, if you can still find them, I think after the doxing got rid of all of them, they might be on the Internet Archive, I don't know. Chateau Hartiste, a lot of the Roosh articles. Like, yeah, I know Donovan, Sharp, and Troy did their articles, but for the most part, they were just describing trends. I'm talking about like the guys who like did one article here and there. Like there's this guy, Marmot Respecter, I know on Twitter. The guy did an article, you probably wouldn't recognize it. And I'm like, oh, that's perfect. Those are probably the good ones. And it was just the things that they tried. Like one of my favorites was this guy, he called himself Gringo, I think it was Gringo Day Game. Back then, the Day Game accounts were from like Canadians and Americans, not so much third world diaspora. So they were pretty good. But his big thing was about how to build yourself a regular spot. And it was like, it reflected a lot of what I did too. And this is what I love about the what I did types of field reports or essays or content in general. What I did, and he would do exactly what I did. You go to a bar. In my case, it was this place in Vancouver Island called Glow. It was right by the sawmill. It was like a new hip trending place. We would go on the off times. So we do a pitch and putt, 9 holes, at Mount Doug, go down to Glow, grab some drinks and whatever at like 1 in the afternoon. Nobody's there 1 in the afternoon on a Sunday. So we had the whole place to ourselves. So you kind of chat up. We got to know the bartenders, the manager, most of the staff, the DJ that plays there would occasionally just chill out on a Sunday and practice. So it was pretty cool. And then we'd leave, like, you know, use a big tip. We'd probably grab, back in the day, you could grab 2 drinks for less than $20. Now it's like a drink for $20. But thanks, Trudeau. Yeah, and, you know, $20 drinks and maybe a meal or whatever, and then leave like a $20 tip. It was a big tip, but whatever. It was worth it just for the conversation, the extra thing. But when you go there on the busier hours, everybody, like, you'd get priority service. Oh, hey, how's it going? Ryan, come on. You want a drink? You're regular? And like when you bring in a date to stuff like this, works amazing for pre-selection. Amazing for pre-selection. Anyways, he had probably a dozen different little things like this about getting your city on lock. I've put together, I think it's in Frame. I gotta check. Frame and Dread right now are blurry to me now. I like, is it in this one or this one? So get both. Yeah, I put a big thing in there about a compilation of about 3 or 4 different guys weren't quite as good versions of it. It's called Getting Your City on Lock. It's one of the last mental models. And yeah, I'm actually really annoyed because I've never been able to find it since. I'm pretty sure he's taken it down. Because if I see a guy Gringo Day Game now, it's just kind of like the 5 ways to get her in bed. Number 3 will surprise you. Number 3 is always drinking fucking water. So great. I'm still going to drink coffee. Reading through the log to Dog Walker, Frame is top tier. Appreciate that much, sir. I've moved on, but I still got a soft spot in my heart for those books. Those books are what got us to where we are today, got everybody else in the know, built a revolution of guys who are sorting the shit out and not being tarted on the internet. So how can you not be happy about that? Yeah, and then all of a sudden I noticed everybody wanted to write the newest theory. It wasn't so much like just like a meandering thing about how you deal with getting a new bar in town or how do you move to a new city or shit like this, how what I did. It was other people like I wanted to be the master. I want to be the teacher. And all they would do is they would read what other people are doing and just repeat it back. No self-reflection, no confirmation, no rigor whatsoever. And isn't that what you're doing? Yeah, that's the next section. So you would end up with this game of, I don't even want to call it hot potato telephone. I'm sure there's a childhood game where somebody does something and everybody chases it. I refer to it generally as like a 6-year-old playing soccer or a 9-year-old playing soccer. You know, the one where the ball gets kicked over, the entire squad swarms it till somebody else kicks it somewhere else, and then they all go and swarm it there. It was like that for the longest time. And it was mostly bad, but there was some good with it. So, for example, the little good, I'll start with the good, is if there was a topic, everybody was hyper-focused on it. And so it was like a Batman signal. If we were talking about frame or dread or game or any, like how to handle an unwanted prey, like whatever. Everybody was hyper-focused on it. And so there was the occasional, out of like 10,000 guys who were like loving it and posting crap and whatever, there was like 2 or 3 that were like, hey, I actually have some personal experience I can contribute to this one. Very hard to find. They mostly got bogged down by the slop. But you repeat that for probably 20 or 30 topics over a decade, and there was like a decently good canon of material based on personal experience. Like I said, it's high replication, low rigor, right? Daniel Bell, I bought the dog walker in paperback and hardcover. Really enjoying it. Different art cover on both is cool. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah, that was kind of my goal on this one. I wanted everybody to have, because I guess some people are really hardcore about hardcovers. People like paperbacks. People like Kindles. I just wanted to make sure I had something extra to offer on each. And considering the cost of that cover art, you better enjoy it too, because I'm pretty sure the I gotta look it up. 1 sec here. We're back on topic. 2 seconds. Does it tell me how many, like, does it break down the sales by hardcover versus paperback? I don't think it does. The point I'm making on this one is I'm pretty sure the hardcover is not going to recoup costs. Or maybe it will. I don't know. The point was, it was a labor of love, but it was definitely a cost. Yeah, so what I did versus what others are doing. And then I started seeing it everywhere. And I always love when, like, all this stuff that I'm used to seeing from the experience with, like, the subreddits, the blogs, the community, whatever. And then you're seeing it in other avenues. And, you like, the big one I saw was somehow YouTube found out I'm trying to expatriate to the States. I don't know how they found out. I don't know why they found out. I probably watched a video for 30 seconds longer than I should have. And then it just started spamming me. And there was 3 things I noticed. One, there's 3 types of videos on that. There is, and they all almost have the same titles. The first one is you looking sad at the camera, you know, why I'm leaving Canada or why I left Canada. And sometimes they're marketing funnels, and sometimes they're just vloggers, and sometimes they're lifestyle brands or whatever they're doing. It's mostly like I'm leaving or I've left. This is why. Love those ones. Those were great. You would see, I saw YouTubers that were less successful than me, more successful than me, about my level, talking about this stuff, and it basically reflected. I'm like, dude, this is great. They didn't really talk as much as I'd like about. There's always like, what would I have told myself now a year later that I probably should have known? There wasn't a lot of those, but that's fine. You read some legal documentation, get a lawyer, you'll be fine. But very quickly, I noticed that they were getting just drowned out. So you get like 30,000 views from some, and it was a Ukrainian chick that moved here when she was like 3 years old. Why I'm leaving Canada. She's like, I don't know anything about the Ukraine. Out of here. 30,000 views. And then you'd see like 100,000 views, 120,000 views of why other people are leaving Canada. And I was like, oh. So what they're doing is just watching the people that did something and reported what they experienced, what their findings, their reasoning, and they just rehashed it. Canadians are leaving Canada now, and they would just say, the 5 different reasons, and it was the reasons that everybody else was talking about. The one thing I will say is there is zero chill in the comments and in the reasoning. Like, guys were flat out saying, too many goddamn Indians here. And I was like, holy shit, you can say that on YouTube now? You can just flat out, like, I'm out. It wasn't euphemized behind the diaspora or the immigration situation. No, it was like, just too damn many of them. And I was like, holy shit. It's like they know me. Anyways, and then there were those 2. And then the third one would pop up afterwards. And that's when I was like, oh my God, is this a trend? Is this a trend and it's going? Because the third ones were mostly third world expats bitching about Canada. And I was like, holy shit, it's exactly the same as the red pill. It was just like, and every one of those started the same. They were copying the why Canadians are leaving Canada thing beat by beat. And then they would have like a list of them. And it's like, I moved here in 2018. They always moved here between 2018 and 2020. Every single one of these guys. I moved here. I thought there was opportunity. I got here. It feels like I never left my home. And there's just too many. I was like, holy shit. Even the migrants are pissed off at the migrants. But I'm like, or is that just like, and the cynical version of me is like, well, they just know that's a lucrative industry. And why don't they just get into that? Having said that, if you moved to Canada for a better life, why did you come here and decide to be a YouTuber? Like, you can be a YouTuber anywhere. You can be a YouTuber in rural Pakistan. You don't need to come to Canada for that. But I'm drifting back to point here. And yeah, so that was the same thing. And it wasn't just there. It was, my girl was watching housewife TikToks. Same thing there. This is what I do. The performative, this is what other people do. And then like the outliers, like, oh, and I'm just going to copy them, but it's like a shitty Temu version of that. And it was just crazy. Why I'm following JBP to America? Well, no, but for me, like, economics is obviously a factor, but I don't know, there was this great essay. I promised I wasn't going to drift. We don't have much time for this, but yeah, I'm just not a puckstick patriot, and I'm not a leaf lib. So it's like, I don't know, this place isn't for me. I clearly, and every time I go to the States and everybody I know with the States I have more in common with, more I associate with, it's just, it's not even the economy, it's the culture. The economy is just bonus. Anyways, yeah, so, and then why is this different? That was the other question. That was my next thought to this. If everybody is kind of going through the same process, and I'm essentially in that second tier, like, why are Canadians leaving Canada? Why is Frame the way it is? Why is Dread the way it is? What's this mental model? What's the tetrahedron? There is a fair bit of my own field reports peppered in amongst all this stuff, or stuff that I've been able to replicate myself. I usually write about that with much more confidence than the stuff that I have no experience with, but ultimately I am writing down what other guys have done. So how is this any different than the guys I was just shitting on? And the only answer I can give to that one that I'm hoping resonates with you guys is that I don't want fame. I don't care. I'm not here for like adulation. I'm not here for accolades. I'm not here for attaboys. I'm not here for backpats. I don't need an audience to love me. And I know that sounds like, well, of course you don't. Who does? But the more I deal with online people from work, peers, coworkers, enemies, haters, whatever word you want to use, the more I realize that is the primary reason people go online, is because they want a mommy to love them and tell them that they're a good person. And don't tell me I'm fucking wrong, because I see it. Every girl who's like a great trend-setting content creator, as soon as they get a husband, they fucking, later boys, I got what I was looking for. And every time the guys, they'll get like an inch of traction. Next thing you know, next week, it's like some mid-tier mid is like, oh my God, he tried to knock me up. And it's like, oh, you're just here for a girlfriend. You want somebody to love you. And if they don't love you, you might as well get the audience to love you. Because audience capture, because of course, why would you be here for 6 years sharing notes with other men and then immediately switch to pivoting about ranting about Israel? It's like, come on. Come on. You just need Jack to love you. Oh, dude. The Dutch already love us. We freed them in World War II 80 years ago, and I refuse to not take credit for that. Yeah. That's the difference. I think it is really a difference in motivation. For me, it's just a job. You know, make this stuff good. Actually, you know what it is? It was the military. It was this guy I used to work with. He actually got arrested and charged when we were deployed for having underage movies on a DVD in his rack. And somebody was looking through for their own version of adult entertainment during some downtime and happened upon it, freaked the fuck out. But that's not really a detail of the story. It's more of just like one of those, what? yeah, fucked. Anyways, the worst part was he was always a skate. He always got out of work. He always had a hiding spot. Nobody could find him. I always had to cover for him. It was fucking annoying. I mean, it's not that I had to cover for him. It's just the work had to get done and he wasn't there. So get it done and we'll yell at him later. All right. That's the word for that in the military is called a skate. I don't know if the Army or the Air Force uses it. The Navy definitely uses it. Skate. Sometimes slacker, but that was like the old guy, the old P1. Is he still alive? I think he died. That P1 hated me too. Anyways, yeah, and I realized I had 3 friends that were on the other watch. They were all promoted ahead of me. The guy that got caught with the movies, he was promoted ahead of me. I got promoted like 6 months late. Meanwhile, and this is like objectively true, I was like the rock star of the department. In other words, like the best guy working there. And it was one of those lessons. There was 2 lessons I kind of got out of that. 1, the reward for doing the best work is more work. And 2, merit has nothing to do with competence at all. Had I just soldered a mod chip onto my boss's Xbox, I probably would have gotten a lot further than I would have by learning secure cryptographic communications in the radio or rat ship shore HF frequency spectrum, and intimate knowledge of the ionosphere during times of day with geographic whatever. Yeah, but I was like, it was a question of motivation, and I don't know if it was a motivation I already had before or a motivation that I developed through it, but it was just, I don't want to be that guy, you know? And this is for a lot of you guys when like the episode's like, it shouldn't have to be that hard. I think a big issue of it is motivation, because if you get a guy whose motivation is to get a girlfriend, to settle down, to find a wife, to get laid, it can work. It's got limited benefits, and you're ultimately putting your own measurable, what's the word that Rollo uses? He calls the 2 types of happiness. Anyways, the good happiness, not the temporary happiness, is if you put it onto them, they're going to fuck it up. Like all a girl has to do is tell you no then, and you have like an existential crisis, but you don't want to be that guy. This is one thing I try to impart with the guys in the Patreons. Like, you're not trying to sleep with your wife. You're not trying to improve your marriage. You are learning a skill set or relearning a skill set or calibrating a skill set. There is a skill set that you need that puts you in the realm of happy guy in a relationship. Now, it doesn't have to be her, doesn't have to be a new girl, doesn't have to be any girl. But you're trying to develop those skills. It's like, yeah, you want to be the best plumber. Well, here's how you plumb. Yeah, but I want those plumbings. No, I want that sink. Like, no. You're going to be good at all sinks. You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be that guy. I'm not that guy. So what does that guy do? Well, that guy is validation seeking. He's the one that says whatever he says on the internet to get paid. He's the one that lies to his wife because he knows it'll make her feel good. And sometimes it's a benevolent place and a happy relationship too. Oh, she treats me so well. Why wouldn't I lie and tell her that she looks great at any size or something like that? It's like, dude, like out of all the advantages girls get in a relationship, I would argue the rarest and the most valuable and the least understood one is honesty. You're like, what? That sounds like some hippie gobbledygook. I'm like, hear me out. Every guy lies to girls because they want to sleep with them. Oh, you look great. I think you're wonderful. I love hearing your stories about the 8-year-old bullying you at Sephora. I think it's great. Mom will lie to her. Oh, whatever. Friends lie to her. Yeah, get that pixie cut. You'll look hot as shit. Everybody lies to her. Not you. She's the man. She decided, I'm going to settle down with this guy. The one guy that could be honest with me, but heaven forbid it hurt her feelings. Oh, now he's just another one who's lying to me. I'm not here to take the women's side in this. I'm not on anybody's. I'm on my side. But you gotta admit, if you got lied to by everybody and then you finally put your trust in one person to be honest with you and they just lie to you too, it's like, I can see that. I can see that making you a little bitter. I can see that making you a little bit bitter. So don't be that guy. There's a whole bunch of other things that guy does, but we are... Oh no, we got time. We got time. We can get into it. Yeah, honesty. And ultimately, that honesty is a lack of fear of a woman's emotions. That's ultimately it. It all comes from a position of fear. Blows my mind when a lot of guys are like, I'm not afraid. Like, you kind of are. I could use the word averse, but does it matter? Oh, averse. That's much better because I don't know what that one means. All right, fair enough. You're not afraid, guys. You're averse. Oh, thankful. But yeah, when you lie, even if it's with good intentions, it's because you want the other person to feel a certain way. It's an overt manipulative action. I'm lying to this person because I want them to do or say or feel what I want them to do, say, or feel. French had a saying, and I can't remember it. It was something like, I don't know how to translate it, but it was like, let the truth lie. Like, lay where it is. The idea being, like, you just be honest and whatever happens, happens. And that's kind of one of those things that I've noticed through all of the 800 times I've had to talk about covert contracts and nice guy behaviors. Is like, yeah, lying is, like, Peterson had it right, but for the wrong reasons, to be honest. He treated it as a categorical imperative. We don't lie because lying is bad. And we are good, and good people tell the truth. The problem with that is you end up being that fucking guy again. What's that guy do? Oh, that fucking guy? That guy. He is full disclosure. He's honest and forthright. Those are two different words. It's almost as if they have two different meanings. Almost. Yeah, forthright. I think, and I love this example because it is like a very controversial one. It gets feathers ruffled, and so of course I'm going to use it. Why wouldn't I piss off the soccer moms? Guys that cheat. Guys that cheat on their wives. They go and they get some side pieces. They get a mistress. They get some strange. Sleeps with a coworker, sleeps with a rando, sleeps with their sister, like whatever. Now, some guys just do it because their wives gain a bunch of weight, they stop wanting to have sex, they become very naggy school marm types, and it's just kind of like, I miss when women were pleasant. And they go and they enjoy themselves. Power to them. Enjoy what you do. And I don't want to lose access to my kids, and the economic situation in our house is good enough. Why rock the boat? Fine. Not my place to judge. There's another type that do it because they need the validation of any woman they find. Yeah, maybe my wife loves me, maybe she doesn't, but this other girl, oh, and that girl, and every girl. It's like a compulsion. I need girls to love me. I need them all to validate that I'm a good man and I look good. And how do you validate that? Well, have them fuck you. And there's a whole bunch of other reasons, but here's where I'm going with this one. You get a subset of these guys, when I say subset, I mean like a majority, a vast majority. They will do that. They will cheat and they will feel guilty. Rightfully so. If you are a guy and you're sleeping around on your girl, you probably are going to feel guilty about it. I'm not going to lie to you. And it's not like it's a, how does that happen? It's kind of intuitive. Like, you figure it out. But those kind of guys then decide to go full disclosure. I have to confess things to my wife because that's the right thing to do. And they are making, and it sounds good and it sounds moral. Let me put it this way. Why are they confessing? They're not confessing because it's the right thing to do. They're confessing because they feel bad and they want to be forgiven. They want the validation from their girl. And that's a selfish thing to do. Selfish as hell. Like, consider this. She was fine. She either willfully ignored it or had no idea or knew it was there and was like, whatever, I'll get through it. And you guys are doing fine. And you decide that you don't like what you did. Now, you can do one of two things. You can A, take responsibility for that. And all right, I'm never doing it again. And I'm going to feel bad because it made me feel bad. And that's just the price you pay. You stub your toe, it's going to hurt for a bit until it heals. If you cheat and feel guilty about it, you're going to feel guilty. That's your body's way of saying, let's not do that again. But no, now you dump all of that crap onto your old lady, make her feel like shit, make her angry, make her sad, and then you tell her, I need something from you. Could you do me a favor and make me feel less bad? And here is everything to make you feel shitty about. You see what I mean about the selfishness of it? It's the same thing as apologies in general. There's an old Roycey thing about never apologize. Never apologize. Because if you're apologizing, you're just supplicating. If it's behavior that you knew was wrong and you chose to do it anyway, then you're not sorry. You, as a conscious choice, decided to do something you preferred over something the other person preferred. So an apology there is just a flat out lie. On the other hand, if you didn't know what you were doing and it hurt somebody as an unintended consequence and you didn't want that to happen, well, then you can apologize, but what's to stop you from doing it again? What you should be doing is just fixing the behavior and making sure it doesn't happen again. Either way, no apology. So again, why are you apologizing? Are you lying, or are you just like absolving yourself of guilt? Well, it lets the other person know I'm truly sorry. Like, just fix the problem. Nothing is better at showing people you have real remorse than actually addressing the issue and keeping it from happening again. So yeah, that's why this is different. That's why this is different. So the next thing is, what the hey? Haven't had a super chat in a while, so I don't get to show that, but I get to show this cocksucker.
I love the way girls smell. I love how they always make sure, by and large, they shower, and they just have an amazing smell to them in general.
Nice. I can't believe YouTube runs ads during a live stream. I can't believe you don't have YouTube Premium. I cannot believe that. I am not shitting on you. You guys do what you want. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not getting paid to advertise this, but I am telling you as a longtime YouTube Premium subscriber, that couple bucks you pay a month, worth. I can't even describe to you, just like the features alone. A, having YouTube play while your phone is off, wonderful. B, no ads, wonderful. C, it actually, I've learned this from the creator side of things, that like you get like a tenth of a penny per view on YouTube anyway, so whatever. But it's actually higher because for YouTube Premium, they just take how much did you pay in Premium this month and they divide it up over like all the things you've watched. You actually get paid more by a YouTube Premium. Everybody here using YouTube Premium pays better AdSense revenue than the AdSense, the free guys. So it's one of those things too where it's like there's tiers of support. If you want to, like, you can have a patron and completely fund a YouTube content creator. Most people don't. I don't blame you. Then there's the super chat groups like Daniel Hernandez here, $4.99 super chat. Thank you very much, sir. Hey, Kurt, you read lips? I like that. I don't know I don't get the reference. It sounds familiar, but I keep just thinking of how do you like them apples? So I'll have to remember this one. I know it's from a movie too, and I just can't remember which one. Anyway, so like the lowest form of support is just YouTube Premium. It just supports them better. But it's also like really good from a user experience too. Oh, and you get like, they give you like 5 accounts for the whole family. So I just like send one to everybody in my house, in-laws, everything. It's just awesome. Yeah, exactly. No ads, free. Oh, and I forgot about YouTube Music too. And oh my God, if you have a Spotify account, you'll ditch it. You'll ditch it for YouTube Premium. Like the example I have is Tobacco. It's this weird band. It's like an alt rock. I can't even describe them. Anyways, they have a song called Super Gum, which is, I love it. It's a good one. It kind of reminds me of like old 80s punk, but it's not punk. It's more rock, but it's kind of synth. Anyways, you just have to lead them to listen to it. Super Gum. And the music video for it was just this old German porn they had of like E.T., which was just a chick wearing an E.T. costume getting railed by a bunch of like German dudes. And they like zoom in appropriately so it doesn't look inappropriate, but it's like, it was just the catchiest song and I loved the song. And I had one on Spotify. Couldn't find it on Spotify. The entire band's catalog is not available on Spotify. I was like, geez, how many bands do I listen to that are on there? Another one, an older one. These guys are like an EDM band, but it's kind of closer to not disco. What the hell's the name of it? Future funk. But it's like really upbeat, happy-go-lucky. Think of like the 555 album from Daft Punk, that kind of stuff, right? Milo. Not on there either. And then I go to YouTube Music, and everybody's there. Everything is there. So its selection is better. And then I'm like, well, if I'm already paying the $12 or whatever for Spotify, why not I just put that towards the $13 for YouTube Premium? And I was like, oh my God. So yeah, their sales pitch is over. The link is in the description. So back to the topic. There's a rapid cultural shift, but it's not nearly as rapid. And this kind of ties in to what I was talking about. Oh, all my Quebec songs are on YouTube Music, not on Spotify. That's good to know too. I can't remember the name. There was actually a new Quebec band that I was getting into. What was their name? It was something. Anyways, it's beside the point. They were like a synth pop band. Something like I Love Men or something like that. Anyways, I'd have to go back and look. No sense doing free advertising space here. We got stuff to talk about. The rapid cultural shift nearly isn't as rapid. That goes into what I was talking about before. So you get a content creator talking about what I did. You get 5 content creators describing what others are doing. And then you get 100 content creators going, yeah, I moved to Canada in 2018, and this is what the content creators are saying that the content creators are doing. You're like, oh. So that amplification effect, it's great if it amplifies something that's real. The problem is real things are boring. Real life is drudgery. When I deployed in 2008, yes, I get to bring that up for a couple more years still. I brought myself a logbook. I'm like, I'm going to write down how the journey went. I want to have like a little personal memoir. And then I got 3 weeks into it and I realized every day is boring and mundane and monotonous and a heavy amount of work. It was just wake up, work, eat, shit, go to sleep, wake up, work, eat, shit, go to sleep, take a gym workout, miss some sleep. Hopefully don't pass out during the midnight watch. Yeah, it was just droll, but some of like the best skills I've ever had in my life came from that drudgery. So real life is boring and content creating is hard and there's a lot of people doing it. So the saturation is there. Do you know what gets pressure? What gets traction? It's not things that are real. It's not the drudgery. It's the random chaos that makes things interesting. Things that lull you out of the drudgery. Now here's the problem with that is, yeah, there's the occasional interesting thing that happens that keeps your interest. But it's so much easier just to make something up. You can just say shit now. It's the internet, man. You can just say things. Nobody even checks it. Is that right? Yeah, probably. And even now, the more savvy people like, is that right? No, probably not. You're still watching it though? Yeah. Meh. Might as well. Nobody even cares if it's true anymore. Is there really 20 Doinks the Clown hiding underneath the ring? And then when Doink gets in a little bit of trouble, they all grab steel chairs and walk up to the ring and just beat the crap out of Hacksaw Duggan. Are you really trying to tell me that's the thing? Just go with it, man. It's more fun than watching The Rock do that eyebrow cocking again. Like, all right, fair enough. Hey, no baiting me with JT memes right now. I don't want to yell at that cocksucker today. Not today. Not today. Trying my best. Anyways, back to the point. Yeah. So you get all these people, and what happens is, even if you get just as many people amplifying the boring stuff as amplifying the salacious, the fake, and the fake gay retarded. Kudos to John Fitch. Greatest thing he's ever done. You'd think it was like his multiple titles in UFC, his world records. No, it's the FGR meme and the robot dogs. 100%. 100%. Oh, and the fighting. But, yeah. So even if you have the equal numbers of people doing it, who do you think grows? The liars grow. People that lie, that are salacious, that make shit up, that amplify it grow. The ones that are least tied or least attached to the actual meat and potatoes of it can focus entirely on the presentation, the wrapping paper. You have a bunch of shitty content wrapped up with wonderful looking wrapping paper. So when you hear about this, like, the game is different, bro, the game has changed, the rapid cultural shift, it's not nearly as rapid. And I see examples myself. Like, I'm in the millennial category, just at the cusp, almost Gen X, but with my cynicism and ability to cuss and slur, you'd almost think I was Gen X. My girl keeps telling me I am, but I keep telling her to shut up and hand me an avocado toast. Yeah, you just go outside and see it, talk to people, talk to Zoomers, older Zoomer girls, and millennial women that are middle-aged now, and some that are in their 30s, and I don't see a lot of change. Like, the only change, and this might be a Canadian-specific change, is that whenever somebody's about to say something that would be considered nothing in, like, an offhand comment in the 2000s, people kind of do that, look to the left, look to the right, and then kind of like, where they're like, I know I'm not supposed to talk about troons. I know I'm not supposed to talk about COVID being fake, and I'm not supposed to talk about this. Like, did you know? And I'm like, yeah, don't worry. And it was one of my gifts right now. It's because, like, I'm here. I don't give a fuck. What are you gonna do? Fire me from my office job? I'll be fine. So I kind of say a lot of things openly that may not be considered good in polite society, but that gives me the advantage of other people then feel comfortable to share their thoughts on it too, which is nice. It's wonderful. The one thing I have noticed, though, is that this rapid cultural shift, it's not as rapid as you think. Like, they all know the Kardashians are kind of dopes. They all kind of know Kanye's a tard. They kind of know Sneeko. Like, what the hell is this guy? What the fuck? Like, nobody really cares. The only one that kind of cares are children. Because children are stupid. Children are stupid, and they like seeing keys jangled in front of them. So when you got Aiden Ross sniffing Tate's chair, when you got Tate getting locked up for human trafficking, but of course all the teachers at school are yelling at him, so why aren't... Dude, Mrs. Hoover hates him. Of course I'm gonna like this guy. Yeah, but he traffics women and steals money. It's like, yeah, but you're talking to a kid about money. What the hell is money? Money turns into video games. Money turns into makeup. They don't know what money is. Money's not real to them. Human trafficking. Think of the women. Those kids are like, I don't care about women, but I care that Mrs. Hoover hates them, so it's good enough for me. Yeah. So as much as you see, and everybody's like, oh, now that there's cell phones out, girls you can't approach girls. Like, you can approach girls. There was cell phone, yeah, but it's different, man. It's always different. It doesn't matter what you can do to relate to the current paradigm. Oh, it's always different. It's never different. I still laugh. I one of these days, I'm going to do a recording on, I picked it up at a flea market. It was like a Popular Mechanics magazine from 1948. And I picked it up. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And I read it. Do you know what it reads like? It reads exactly the same as what we have right now. 80 years later, there is articles in there fear-mongering what the Russians are doing. Really? You wouldn't think it. You'd think we'd be over all this Russian propaganda, but no, we're still knee-deep in it. For them, they were developing grapes so big, they were the size of apples. And that was all it was going to take over the West. I was like, holy shit. They had these new weapons being built. They were the epitome of evil. And we have to go and save the perfect people and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, holy shit. I could have written this like yet last week and it would still be relevant. And then the girls. Oh, they had like the bullet bras. Remember the ones they were just pointing straight out? They looked like rockets. And they were showing girls how to take better selfies. But at the time, you had to get like a camera and a tripod. So that was the only difference. Instead of the phone, it's a camera and tripod. And they're showing them how to take better selfies, get better lighting. The boys will all like you, shit like that. And the guys, what were the guys doing? Well, there's no video games. It's 1948. But you know what there was? Remote-controlled cars and boats. Oh, here's how you can build yourself your own RC car, your model trains, all your electronic gizmos, and it was the nerdiest stuff ever. It was nerd stuff, but it was just with like analog wires, and I was like, oh my god, this is exactly the same. Talking about video games, and the advertisement for it was a guy, like a girl being ignored while the guy was playing with his trains, and I was like, holy shit, I could have written this last week under Train Simulator and gotten 1 million views. And everything in there was all exactly the same. Nothing has changed. Everybody thinks it changes, but it doesn't change. Well, it's slightly worse now. Like, maybe, but... Well, you have to work that much harder now. Yeah, but everybody's kind of, like, a lot worse at working hard at all. So, it's hard to gain a proper perspective on this. It's almost unknowable because everybody is so biased they can't be objective. Like, is it women are truly that bad, or is it that guys just aren't stepping up? And you're never going to get a straight answer on this one. But you kind of walk through remembering what things used to be like. You see, yeah, maybe some things are a little bit harder to get a girl's attention off her phone, marginally harder than when she was just sitting there talking with her friends anyway. But at the same time, I've noticed it's easier in a way that when you get a girl's attention off of her phone, her eyes light up. Oh my God. It's like, it would be like for a guy, you're hooked on the hub, and then all of a sudden, one of them girls walks up to you, is like, hey, do you know the time? And you're like, holy shit, turn your phone off? Yes, I do. What are you up to later? She goes, I have to work. You're like, okay. Daniel Hernandez, $4.99 super chat. Finished the dog walker, 10 out of 10. Definitely laughed more than 3 times. Oh, that's awesome, sir. So happy to hear that. Oh, by the way, got my first negative review on the Kobo edition. I was like, first I screenshotted it. It was pretty funny, and I'm not gonna be like, oh, I hate guys who leave bad reviews. I actually kind of appreciated it because, like, I always like to know, is there a way to make things better? Unfortunately, it seems like the issue here was just his expectations coming in and what I delivered. There was a disconnect there. So, and it sucks too because he only got a third of the way through the book. He's like, there might be magic later, but I'll never know. And I'm like, there is, and that sucks. But then he told me to start reading more of, I don't remember what the guy's name was. He's the one that did The Witches of Eastwick. And I was like, what the hell? It's like, yeah, if that's what you were wanting, probably not going to deliver. I've only ever watched one half of an episode of that, and I was like, no. Oh, you're going to get negative reviews. If you're not getting any negative reviews, that just means not enough people are reading it. My first thought, and it's the same thing I tell guys when your wife is shitting on you for whatever reason. Just take a beat. Do they have a point? If they do have a point, do you know that? Do you know what the point is? If they don't have a point, do you know why? So I looked through it. There's not really much I can change unless I completely change to a different type of author, but that's just, like, you can't be somebody different than you are. But anyways, I appreciate it anyway. So if you do get the Kobo edition, feel free to leave yourself a comment that's accurate, because at the very least, I want people who want to enjoy it, and the people that wouldn't enjoy it, I don't want to waste their time, you know? Yeah. Oh yeah, you know what, don't, like I said, all I care about is you buy a copy and you enjoy a copy. That's all I need. That's the only part I need. I'll continue to work hard on it. The new one you're going to love too. Completely different direction. But I have a feeling I'm going to be doing a bouncing back and forth between contemporary fiction and cyberpunk, at least in the near future, unless another genre kind of hits me. Back to the cultural cusp. Yeah, you're never gonna know for sure, so you just kind of stick with what you got. And that kind of leaves you only with a few options anyway, right? Like, what can you do? Well, just develop the skill sets you need to become the type of person that, you know, can thrive in this one. Oh, the top 20% of men are taking 80% of the women. All right, well, have you considered, instead of bitching about the top 20% stealing all the women and making laws that make it illegal to take the top 80 women or whatever, just to start becoming one? Yeah, but it's harder than it used to be. Maybe. It's not difficult though. It's monotonous. It's boring. It's like the YouTubers, what I did versus what others are doing. You just have to be the what I did types. That's it. The bar has never been lower. Yeah, the difficulty is slightly hard. The bar used to be even lower 20 years ago and 40 years ago and 60 years ago, but it's never been lower. Slightly higher, but lower. Get a girl's attention off her phone. Holy shit, this is so much more interesting. Even if you get rejected. You wouldn't believe how many girls that I met that knew me from my antics, but I didn't know them. Now, granted, it was a smaller city. It was only like 300,000 people there, so the word gets around. But that same thing applies to everybody who's living even in larger places. Like if you're in a scene, get rejected by a girl, but she has a friend. Friends have friends. They meet you. Oh, I knew this guy. Yeah, he tried hitting on me once. Really? What was it like? Oh, it was so much fun. Did you sleep with him? No, I didn't really like him. He's not my type, but yeah, it was fun. Stuff like this adds up. You'll never know, though. Like, you'll never know your reputation outside of, like, your immediate circle because you get that feedback. But there is a secondary reputation out there of people who know you through other people. And you'll never know about that stuff. And that could be, and that's the problem, is you got opportunities that just never materialize and you never know they exist. Never know they exist. And you'll never know you don't even believe me on this one unless you've had something happen from that exterior outside influence. But then once that happens, you kind of realize, oh my God, there is a whole world outside of my ego, and they are paying attention in some small way. Oh, see, yeah, Stefan, you'll love it. I'll do some ranting in like a minute here. We're gonna move over to the thing. Oh yeah, the last part. So just don't bother competing with Bugattis. For all this stuff, if you're a superstar sports athlete, if you're a crypto bro that made $10 million, if you're running a Forex scam and you got billions of dollars, if you're hitting on girls in various different countries and flying them out to see you, like that's a whole different game. That is the Hollywood actor game. That is the billionaire game. That's the Epstein Island game. Hearing those guys talk about their dating life and then thinking that it all applies to you, it doesn't. You should just ignore that shit. I was going to expand on it, but we're low on time, and it's like, you really need me to shit on a bunch of Nepo babies? Probably not. Doesn't matter. No. So that's on this one. It's more of a meta, but it is still actionable. At the end of this, what do? Just you work on the skill sets you need. And there's like 100 different versions of skill sets. You've got the tetrahedron of frame, which I've talked about now, which is building your own self-actualization. There is dread. Those skill sets to learn how to like ruthlessly enforce your boundaries within a relationship, so that way you're primed to have a good relationship with her or another girl or multiple women, whatever you want to do. It's not my place to judge. Just keep your mouth shut and stop feeling guilty. There is workplace stuff. Like, I know the one thing I liked from Scott Adams when he talked about the talent stack. You may not be the best of this, but you're the best of, like, the best A in the world. But you can be the best A who's also good at B, C, D, E, and F. You know what I mean? Like me. I'm not the greatest content creator. I'm not the greatest author. I am not the greatest YouTuber. I'm not the greatest tweeter. I'm not the greatest blogger. But I like to think I'm the greatest ex-military graphic design trained YouTube vlogger, essay, blog writer out there. I've yet to find a second one. And I'm like, that's good enough. Like, who's going to be able to beat that? That's why you can't copy what I do, because I am the only guy that does what I do. You're up for nomination to be an honorary member of Gen X Rhino. Thank you, Rob. I'm not against it. I'm not against it. I just, the thing that gets me is, and this is like my little millennial thing, is that most millennials, when they're in positions to define the barrier between millennial and Gen X, they always pick, what year was I born? That year is the last Gen X. And I was like, you fucking cowards. Just tell them you didn't watch Harry Potter, eat an avocado toast, don't start your sentences off with wow, and you'll be fine. Ditch the Funko Pops. You can be millennial. JD Vance has taught us you can be a millennial and not be gay. Just say please. Yeah, so I'll probably save. I was going to talk more about the book, but I'll do that on the next podcast because I like that's more of a storytelling format there. Oh, yeah, so you develop your skills. And what are the skills? Yeah, and it's like, I get it. Looks, money, game, frame, dread, the talent stack, all this stuff. Yeah, and then, well, which one do I do? Well, that's kind of up to you. What is it you're trying to do? Depending on your goals. If you're happily married and in a good relationship, but you're dealing with workplace stuff, you're probably going to need to deal more with work stuff. So dread's not going to really be much of an issue for you. Game's not going to be much of an issue for you. So why would I give you those life scripts? Maybe you're a single guy. You don't have a pot to piss in, a window to throw it out of. No girl likes you. Yeah, you're going to kind of need like a little bit of everything. Maybe you're rich, but no girl likes you. Then yeah, you're probably going to need frame, and you're probably going to need a hell of an amount of game anyway. So yeah, which one do I take? Which skills do I need? That's kind of up to you. And as much as it would be great for me to sit here and tell you what the problem is and what you need to fix, do you really want some random asshole telling you what to do? It's like, no. At best, I've given you a bookshelf of things. Like, here's some specific things to deal with specific issues. If you need those, there you go. Here's what other people have done. Here's what I've done. Here's how it worked out. Good luck. Can't really argue. Marty, I heard you wrote a book. Dude, it's crazy now. I feel like Clary, you wrote a book. I've written 6. You know, I didn't even know what a Funko Pop was, by the way. So I'm ending on this. I didn't even know what a Funko Pop was. I had to ask on Twitter. I'm like, what's a Funko Pop? Because I did a search for it. I'm like, I didn't see anything. And it turns out it's like, You know those bobbleheads? It's kind of like that, but they're like smaller and they don't bobble. And they're just like cartoon versions of things. Technically, I ended up finding out I accidentally had one. I think it's even in the shot. Yeah, it's right there. It was just a gift from a corporate event I was at. Google was handing them out, and it's one of the, and there's like a whole like collector's thing for the rare Android Funko Pops or whatever. I think that one is like I don't remember. I'd have to go look it up. But yeah, there's like collectors for this shit. I was like, whatever. For me, it was just kind of neat. I had a friend that worked in the Google office down there, and he showed me around, and like, yeah, the slide's broken, just so you know. I'm like, I'm fine with that. I want to see this kitchen that you guys get cooking at. And it looked just like the steam line on the military, except for like the food was like really good. Holy shit. All right, so that's it. After this, we're going to go quickly do an hour on Orion. We're going to talk about what anime is to the uninitiated and if you would like it, because I am sick and tired of weeaboo, lolly porn guys sitting here telling you and like, shut up. Just normal people with normal consumption habits want to watch normal things that are interesting. And that's as far as I want to take it. I don't need to argue whether the vampire is 800 years old or fucking 14, you weird psycho asshole. So that's it. So we'll see you there. Let's do the ending thing. And it'll automatically move you over. So don't worry about that.
$79T, 2458, Learning Corp, Little Red Riding Hood, take one.
"40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone." Does that make sense?